Thank you very much. Before I get to the call to action, I want to just take a moment and pick up where the very moving presentation by the Saweed family ended, which was the plea and the belief, the understanding that they are part of us. And I want to make sure that the Saweed family understands that not only are you a part of us, but that we are a part of you, and that what you represent here in Israel, the commitment to this country, the sacrifices your family has made to this country, is an inspiration for every one of us here. And I, again, want to thank you for participating with us here. I was thinking about, not as I thought about what to say here as we wrap up, I was thinking about another trip I made to Israel. A trip when we came on a congressional delegation, but while we were here, they discovered the bodies of 3 teens who were killed by terrorists, Eyal Yifrach, Naftali Frankel, and Gilad Shaer. And so we rearranged our entire schedule to go to the funeral. And when we went to Modi'in, we went to the funeral, we pulled up, it felt literally as if the entire nation of Israel was pouring out to mourn with these families. Thousands and thousands of Israelis came to show their support. There was a national outpouring of grief, and it was an outpouring of grief that was matched around the world by so many of us here who had spent weeks holding vigils praying for the safe return of the 3 boys, only to tragically turn to mourning for them. And we mourned with the Israeli families, my colleagues and I, Eliana Ross-Layton and I here, but all of us around the world mourned with the families. Just as we stand with the Saweed family, we do this because we are part of this family. And what does that mean for us after 4 days here in Israel? Well, I also think about, while I'm here, being in Washington in 2020 on the White House lawn for the signing of the Abraham Accords, and what that represents for Israel, for this region, and again, for our broader family who care so deeply about Israel's place here in the region, and all of us at AJC who work so hard to defend it and strengthen it and deepen its place here. It means more opportunities and more hope for our family. And then I think about sitting in the AJC office in New York in my first week on the job as CEO of this incredible organization. And it happened to coincide with the moment when Kanye decided to use his platform to attack the Jewish community, to attempt to further normalize anti-Semitism. That same time that normalization of anti-Semitism in America really started to pick up. So what did we do on behalf of Jews across America, on behalf of our family in America? Well, AJC went to work. And that following December, when we met in the White House, and I, on behalf of AJC, was able to urge the White House to adopt a national action plan as we had called for more than a year. And then as we brought the special envoys from around the world that we had worked with to the White House to share their insights, AJC played a role at that moment. And the question then is, what have we done since, and what's happened here that we need to reflect upon? This is AJC's work. From the work we do here in Israel and the deep love and appreciation that we have for this country, the work of citizen diplomats that we are in advocating for Israel and the Jewish people, across America and in capitals across the world. The advocates, the activists who will fight against efforts to delegitimize Israel, who will always stand for Israel's place in the world, who understand the importance of always fighting to ensure that the Jewish and democratic state of Israel is respected around the world. That's what we do. And in our 4 days here in Tel Aviv, this is where our AJC family came together. Look, we're all well aware, we are hyper-focused at this moment, as I said the other day, to the great challenges that we face, but also to the enormous opportunities at hand. The strength that we have working together as a family on behalf of our greater family around the world. As President Herzog said on this stage just a few days ago, he said, and I quote, "I am adamantly passionate about the story of the Jewish people. We are a small nation of about 15 million plus Jews around the globe in a sea of 8 billion human beings. We have a role to play, we have a story, and therefore we should protect and preserve the unity of our people amidst all of its differences." That's what this Global Forum has been about. I am, like all of you, Jewish and proud, but that is more true now than it was even when I arrived in Tel Aviv just a few days ago. I think about the feeling that we had at Kabbalat Shabbat with our AJC family, and Havdalah on Saturday night. Again, with AJC, a really important reminder that in addition to all of the advocacy that we do, we are an authentically Jewish organization, something we should be proud of. And as we gather in Tel Aviv for Global Forum, what a powerful way for us to begin the next chapter in AJC's great history, to redouble our efforts to strengthen the Jewish people. The Jewish people, our family who lives in the United States, in Israel, in the 60 countries from which our great Global Forum advocates have come. That's what we recall as we join here together from all around the world. And what did we do since we've been here? Well, obviously, we heard a range of political leaders, from Prime Minister Netanyahu and President Herzog to Minister Dermer, Opposition Leader Lapid, National Unity Chair Gantz, and Minister Chikli. We heard from journalists and civil society opinion makers with diverse viewpoints. We heard an exhilarating debate about the role of diaspora Jews in Israeli politics, and in addition to the meetings that have taken place, the public plenaries that we've had, the breakout sessions, the excursions. In addition to all of those, we also had meetings on the sidelines, meetings with members of the governing coalition in Israel, meetings with opposition leaders, and yes, meetings with Israelis whose commitment to Israeli democracy has resulted in their taking to the streets every week for 6 months. So we know our role. For 117 years, AJC has worked to enhance the well-being of the Jewish people. We've strived to enhance Israel's place in the world and to defend democratic values. And we heard views here that will help us going forward from across the world, from Europe and Latin America. We heard from the president of Uruguay. We heard from the president of the Jewish Confederation of Ukraine. We heard when Boris Loshkin came and spoke to us, not just the powerful words of Ukrainian Jewry, but the opportunity for us to announce to the world our rededication to the cause of Ukraine, standing resolutely against Russia's illegal invasion, and AJC's mobilization to help deliver $5 million in medical supplies to the people of Ukraine. It's impossible for any of us to have sat here as the Sharon Green Award was presented, seeing the strength of students at Northwestern and at Berkeley Law School, and not to feel better, not just about the future, but about what young people are doing to strengthen the Jewish community and fight back on behalf of the Jewish community everywhere in America. And it was an even more special moment than we had thought and planned and hoped for, when we had the opportunity to have the David Harris Award presented by David Harris on our stage to the special envoys combating anti-Semitism. How awful it is that we live at a time where the position of special envoy to combat anti-Semitism is necessary, but how gratified we are to see the work that they're doing in the United States and around the world. We heard the great debate yesterday. I have nothing more to add. It was a great debate indeed. The fact that I'm here talking about our views about Israel, well, it was a great debate. And I referenced earlier the Moral Courage Award. So many of us have been to Israel so many times, and it's always meaningful. But there are moments where we're just reminded that nothing here should be taken for granted. Not this nation, not the freedoms, not Israel's strength in the world. All of it is dependent upon real human beings. We do our part as advocates, but for Israeli men and women who serve this country and put their lives at risk and are willing to make the ultimate sacrifice on behalf of this country, that reminder should cause us to redouble our efforts to stand up for this country and for all of them. And we met with dozens of ambassadors and officials from all around the world. Our excursions went to Jerusalem to meet Israelis and Palestinians working for peace. They went to explore the history of Israel. We learned about high-tech startups that are flourishing just within a short distance of Hamas rockets aimed at Israel in Gaza. What an incredible few days. So what comes next? What do we do to ensure secure Israel and the 15 million Jews in the world? Well, we fight anti-Semitism. We strengthen the global nature of our work. Here's the call to action. Here's what I think we need to do. First of all, I announced this the other day, but my friends, going forward, the implementation of the White House strategy using every incredible, talented member of our team at AJC in every regional office across America, and our influence from our global offices around the world, that effort will guide us for the next year. We will work with businesses and nonprofits. We will work with cultural organizations, universities, sports leagues, school districts, law enforcement. We will do what we always do, using our principled and nonpartisan approach to ensure that with our partners in the interfaith community, with our partners that we work with in the intergroup space, that we will stand together ensuring that the document produced by the White House does not sit on the shelf, but that the action items contained within it are actually acted upon for the benefit of the Jewish community. We will do all of that together with your help. Number two, our global efforts to fight anti-Semitism will continue. The special envoys who were on our stage have an important role to play in implementing their own plans around the world. These are plans to combat anti-Semitism and to foster Jewish life. And our offices all around the world will continue to work with them to make sure that those plans are being implemented and that the Jewish communities, large and small, all across the world, benefit from our work to help keep them safe. Number three, we will work to enhance Israel's place in the world and strengthen the Abraham Accords. We will do it in foreign capitals, near and far. We will do it at the State Department, and we will do it at the White House. And yes, our regional offices will do it with consuls general, with state and local officials, with mayors, all of whom have a role to play. AJC has an army of citizen diplomats around this country, making sure that we are heard from, that the message of a stronger Israel in a region anchored by the Abraham Accords, as expanded with our urging and our help, is a message that only AJC can powerfully and does every day powerfully transmit. We will also work at the same time to fight for Israel's security, recognizing and combating the threat that Iran poses, working to designate the IRGC as a terrorist organization because Iran's terror reaches beyond its own borders and threatens Jews across the world. We will work to ensure that Iran never has nuclear weapons and to preserve and to enhance the security of the Jewish and democratic state of Israel so that it will always remain the homeland for the Jewish people. And as we are called to action, remember, who besides us will act? This call for action is for every current and former Leaders for Tomorrow student, every Campus Global Board member, every Access member, every Project Interchange participant and alumni, every ambassador, consul general, diplomat, business leader, civil society leaders around the U.S. and the world, where we have cultivated relationships over weeks and years and decades. And most of all, we will do this because our regional leaders, our board members, our executive council, our institutes, everyone from around the world who has joined us here today and has joined us through the years, we cannot do this on our own. All of us working together will ensure that we are doing everything we can to further our mission. Our responsibility, and quite frankly, your responsibility, is too great. And what does that mean? Well, first, it means if you've been inspired by what's happened in Tel Aviv, then share that with your friends and neighbors. If you better understand now, having seen the breadth of the work we do and the power of our advocacy around the world, make sure that the people that you interact with back home understand that as well. And I would be remiss if I didn't at least pause to reflect upon the fact that a conference like this, more importantly, the work that we do around the world, doesn't happen on its own. The resources that are necessary for us to continue to do the work help to drive what we do and expand what we do and have more influence and a greater ability to help shape the future. So I would encourage all of you, while I'm grateful for your support for the work we do, I would encourage all of you to think about how much more you can do to help us do even more in our powerful work. And this, some of you, a lot of you have heard me say this. I want to be really clear. AJC should never be referred to as the best kept secret in the Jewish community. It cannot be a secret. It cannot be a secret that there is no organization in the world that advocates everywhere with leaders who can move the needle to help make the Jewish community stronger, safer, and more secure. Everyone must know of the deep relationships built up over decades that make us such effective citizen diplomats for the Jewish people and for Israel. And finally, it is time for the Jewish community everywhere, but especially in the United States, to know what every prime minister, foreign minister, senator, member of Congress, our local government officials, so many of whom have come across the stage over these past 4 days, to know what they do. That AJC is the global advocacy organization for the Jewish people, effectively advocating for the Jewish people in Israel everywhere in the world. You can help make that happen. All of you in this room, and finally that it starts with It starts with our Leaders for Tomorrow students, our Campus Global Board, and our Access Young Leaders, who are the key to the future and the present of this organization. So as we conclude here, I want to offer a few thank yous. First, I want to thank all of the participants from the United States and around the world who have come to Tel Aviv to join us for these past few days. You've been so engaged, thoughtful as always, in each and every plenary and breakout session, and we are beyond fortunate to have you as the driving force of American Jewish Committee. You should give yourselves a hand. You should all know, and I'm very proud of this. This morning, the food and beverage staff at the Dan Panorama approached some of our team to let them know that AJC's participation has been, and I quote them, lovely and wonderful. And seeing all of you here and speaking with you individually has restored their faith that diaspora Jewry cares deeply about Israel. To my friend and partner, Michael Tickner, our remarkable president, who has led us so ably through, well, let's just say a global forum that may have seemed seamless to all of you. But Michael, I know, and I'm grateful for your leadership. To Bobby Lapin, the chairman of our Board of Governors, Stephen Wish, the chair of our Board of Trustees, to our Executive Council, all of our Board of Governors members, and all of our lay leadership, I cannot thank you enough for everything you've done this week and always. Next, to our incredibly talented and dedicated team of professionals who planned and carried out this global forum. The global events team, led by Daniel and Leslie, with incredible did Daniel actually appear from backstage? Daniel and Leslie, thank you both. Belle, thank you for your tireless efforts and leadership. To Claire and Mara and Kelly and Lindsay and Bonnie and Natan, we're grateful for your incredible commitment and tireless effort. I want to thank everything we've done here, by the way, that looks so easy, all of the excursions, all the people coming through, that doesn't just happen either. I want to thank Avital and our incredible team in Jerusalem. The development team who's worked so tirelessly on Global Forum, Lital and Sarah, so grateful for your efforts, and Julie always for yours. The young leadership team, Alex, thank you for your efforts here. If you're on the AJC email list, particularly if you receive press releases, to John and the entire marketing and communications team, thank you. We know what you have achieved. And to our many policy professionals and global affairs colleagues who work so hard to brainstorm events, to come up with ideas, to secure speakers, to work on briefing papers, thank you for what you've done. And to our regional directors and colleagues, your incredible recruitment efforts are responsible for 1,500 advocates from around the world joining us. Thanks to you. the AJC mailroom that dealt with printing and shipping logistics from New York to Tel Aviv. Our two partners, Erin and AX3, and to Tamar and Eshet for making sure everything ran smoothly. To my team in the office of the CEO, Casey and Jack and Tatiana. I am confident saying none of us could have imagined doing this and seeing this work the way it did 1 year ago. Thanks so much for your efforts. And then to all of the AJC professionals who worked shifts at registration, who stood as wayfinders, offered help, staffed breakout sessions, thanks for making everything run so smoothly. And to the partners from around the world who have joined us, the leaders from the world who spoke on our stage, we thank you so sincerely. And I also just want to take a moment, as I said before, to thank again and express how special it is for me that my family, Jill and our kids, are here. Thank you. All right, one final responsibility that we all have that falls on our shoulders as we go forward. Take the past 2 days that we've had here in Tel Aviv, think about the way that it makes you feel. Feel about Israel, feel about being Jewish. Take that feeling home to your communities. Take it home to your countries. Make sure your friends are standing with us. Stand up for Israel. Stand up for the Jewish people. Stand up for every Jew in the world. That's what we do. And so from Modi'in in 2014 at that funeral I described earlier to our work around the world, we stand together as a family. That's what AJC is. It's what we represent. It's what we embrace in the work that we do. We come together for Israel at moments of stress with proud American voices. We come together here with love for Israel. And we will continue to come together for the future of Israel and the Jewish people. We do this because we are family. So let's leave here more dedicated, more passionate, even more committed to the work that we do. We have shown what happens when AJC comes together on behalf of the Jewish people. There is only one Jewish state. We are only one people. And as the Talmud reminds us, Kol Yisrael Aravim Zeh Bazeh, we are all responsible for one another. And my friends, is there no greater blessing than that? Thank you, everyone, for being here. Thank you for making this a remarkable global forum. And we will see you next year in Washington.